Negative, 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 underwater, 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 underwater. These 4 polls, all of them tell a consistent story, and that is Trump is on the negative side of the ledger. His net approval is negative. He is underwater like the Little Mermaid.
The honeymoon appears to be over for Donald Trump, who just a few weeks ago had a pretty high approval rating relative to his previous approval ratings. But now, Harry Enten on CNN broke down Trump's worst day of polling in his second term. So according to 4 new polls from CNN, Gallup, Ipsos, and Quinnipiac, Trump had a negative net approval rating in all 4 polls. So Trump's overall approval rating was below 50% in each poll, with him grabbing 47%, 45%, 44%, and 45% respectively. Now, let's hear a little more of what Harry Enten had to say about the polls and how they compare to what the polls said last month.
All right, so we don't have a CNN poll to compare, but we do have the other 3 pollsters that we can look at. Trump's net approval rating, the change since January. Look at this. Gallup, down 5 points. Quinnipiac, down 7 points. Ipsos, down 13 points. They polled right at the beginning of his presidency, so not a big surprise that shows the worst change for Donald Trump. But the bottom line is this: across the 4 new polls that we have, all of them have Trump in net negative approval rating, and the 3 in which we have a trend line, we see Donald Trump heading in the wrong direction, swimming upstream, you might say.
So I'm gonna go to one more clip before I hear your thoughts, Cenk, because the real question is, where is he losing support specifically? Because remember, Donald Trump did manage to increase his support among groups of people who typically would vote for Democrats. He also increased his support during this past election among independents. That is a fragile coalition, and it appears that fragility is now hurting him. Take a look.
You know, one of Donald Trump's great strengths during his first term, one of Donald Trump's great strengths during the 2024 campaign was the economy, the idea that Donald Trump could fix the economy. This was one of Donald Trump's great strengths. Now it's one of his great weaknesses. What am I talking about? Trump's net approval rating. You go back to his first term, February 2017, Ipsos, he was at plus 16 points on his net approval. Quinnipiac, plus 6. Look at where he is now in Ipsos. He's 8 points underwater on the economy. Quinnipiac, 4 points under on the economy. I honestly never thought I'd see the day in which Donald Trump would be polling so poor on the economy, but that day is here. As I said last week, inflation ate the Joe Biden presidency alive, and right now it is very much the case that Donald Trump is in danger of inflation eating his presidency alive because his net approval ratings on the economy are underwater.
So I'm curious what you think about this, Cenk. Is this just a blip in Donald Trump's second term, or do you think that this trend is going to continue?
Yes, I have a very strong feeling about that in a sec. But first, I'm curious about what you guys think. So is Donald Trump going to recover from these bad poll numbers? We're asking that in the live chat on YouTube. Check out the show live Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 o'clock Eastern, so you can participate in the show. We also read your comments too, if you remember. All right, so first thing I have to say is Harry Enten, fun guy. Okay, so normally you see me criticizing mainstream media figures.
You used to criticize Harry Enten pretty viciously.
And I used to go after Harry Enten when he was working with Nate Silver, and I thought that they were so biased, and they would constantly say, no matter how much the establishment Democrat was losing, they're like, no, he'll eventually win. Because we took 28 polls and reversed them and blah, blah, blah.
You're correct about that. Yeah. I think that Silver was a bad influence on him. Now that he's over at CNN, he does a really good job by breaking down polling objectively.
No, but Silver got better too.
Did he?
Well, no, in this election, he was one of the rare voices who was saying, look, guys, the numbers are not complicated. Biden's in a disastrous shape.
Okay, fair.
So he did a good job there, and it was objective, and he took a lot of heat for it.
He did.
And so Enten is kind of entertaining, but most importantly, he's objective.
Yeah.
He's just like, I was gonna say like we do, but really what anyone should do. Just report the frickin' numbers. If they're positive for the Democrats, great. If they're negative for the Democrats, great. I don't care. Like that's not the point. Your point is to actually show what Americans think, not what you think. And in mainstream media, they almost never do that. They always go, and the American people think that there should be more tax cuts for the rich. I'm like, when? How? You show me the freaking poll that says that. They don't say that at all. So Harry's actually doing a good job of showing the numbers when Trump is up and when Trump is down. By the way, so as you look at these numbers, they look bad and they are getting worse for sure. That all of those numbers are correct. But the underlying numbers are still, relative to his first term, not so bad for Trump. So even though he's underwater now, those polls were at 47, 45, 44, and 45. Those are higher than Biden's numbers, like 10 points higher oftentimes. But they're also higher than when Trump was in office the first time around, his first term. So he came in with a significant bump this time around. Remember, he won the popular vote, and what Americans do, and this is what I love, this is really open-minded of American voters. When a new president comes in, their popularity rating is always higher because it's the American people being optimistic and giving them a fair chance and saying, all right, you won whether I voted for you or not. Let's see what you got, right? So Trump is benefiting from that. So even when he drops, the numbers are not disastrous, they're just kind of bad, not disaster. Okay, so why are they dropping? Obviously the economy, right? And look guys, so what I told Democrats during the elections is just because you think Joe Biden is young and dynamic doesn't mean all the voters think he's young and dynamic. The rest of the voters have eyes and ears, right? So now I'm telling MAGA and the Republicans, just because you think it's great to do extreme cuts through Doge and chop away at all foreign aid, fire all the new people that are federal employees and get rid of cancer research and blah, 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 all these things. That doesn't mean that the middle of the country agrees with that and wants that. Like both sides make the mistake of thinking that the extremes represent everyone that voted for Trump or everyone that voted for Biden.
That is why cutting off an entire group of people in the country based on how they vote is a really bad idea because it leads to increased misunderstanding, right? You should know what people are actually thinking.
Yeah, 100%. So now finally to the heart of your question, Anna. So are they gonna go back up or not? Well, so I'm not shy about this. I wrote with about 2 or 3 years left on his term for George W. Bush, like a million years ago, I wrote this op-ed that at the time was considered controversial. I said, no, he's never going to recover. The numbers will only go down from here on out because he doesn't have the capacity to recover. He's not smart enough, he doesn't work hard enough, his policies aren't popular. There's nothing he represents that is popular.
That's so unfair. He read like 3 Camus.
And a Shakespeare.
And a Shakespeare, that's right.
Okay, and as it turned out, I was right about that. And his numbers only went down, never went back up. With Trump, he's a mixed bag, guys. So does he have wild, crazy tendencies? Absolutely. Dangerous tendencies? Absolutely. If he starts to head down as he is now, and he digs in, and he just keeps digging and digging and digging. Oh, I am gonna be king. Oh yeah, I am like Napoleon. I don't have to follow the course. Then it's gonna be an epic disaster. And he's gonna slide so far down, he's gonna get into the 20s, okay? That's if. But Trump has this rare ability that almost no other corporate politician has. So as you see me being appropriately super tough on Trump, he's a potential madman who could go in an authoritarian direction. He also cares about being popular. The rest of the politicians are like, popular? Yeah, I want to be popular with the donors. Where's the freaking checks? And they don't care about the American people at all, right? The uniparty. So whereas Trump's like, oh, I'm unpopular? Well, I don't like that.
Crowd sizes, poll numbers, yeah.
So I'll turn around. And he keeps testing things, all right, I'm gonna be king. No, you guys don't like that? All right, forget it, I'm not king, okay? Oh, you guys do like that? Yeah, I'm king, okay? So he's testing. So now what he's getting back is, brother, they didn't vote for massive, weird, radical cuts, right? They voted to bring prices down. That was the #1 issue. Immigration was #2, and it was a strong #2, but prices was a clear #1. And now, not only are you not bringing prices down, but when egg prices went up, you're like, oh, whatever, dude. No, not whatever, dude. Whatever, dude, makes you lose 13 points in the Ipsos poll.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we're gonna pay close attention to the story as it develops.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.